The recent altercation off of Rosedale between a Fort Worth police officer and a black resident brought the underlying race discrimination issues of Southeast Fort Worth to the surface. In light of the February 28th police shooting that left one man dead and an entire community in an uproar, the volatile relationship between Fort Worth PD and residents of the black community could be solved by an increased amount of sincere and open communication on both sides. According to police, the incident occurred on a Monday night when a 32-year-old man was fatally shot by a police officer after trying to evade arrest by driving off with the officer trapped in his SUV's window. Officer J. Romero conducted a traffic stop and attempted to arrest Sherrell Rara Thomas on outstanding arrest warrants. Instead of exiting the vehicle, Thomas stated that he was not going to jail and locked the doors. The officer reached through the half-open window to unlock the door and was trapped when Thomas rolled up the window on his arm. Thomas then accelerated towards the freeway, dragging the officer behind. The officer demanded him to stop, and when he did not, Romero unholstered his service weapon and shot the driver several times. Thomas had a passenger in the front seat and his 3 children in the back seat of the SUV when the shooting occurred. After firing, the SUV slowed and Romero was able to jump from the vehicle. Passengers were uninjured and Romero was treated for injuries and released. However, Thomas was taken to a Fort Worth hospital where he was pronounced dead from multiple gunshot wounds. I have a few issues with this tragic story. First, were all 12 shots that were fired necessary to stop the vehicle? Second, was there no way to free himself other than for the officer to kill the driver? Third, were the other passengers considered when the shooting took place? And lastly, why did the officer reach through the window in the first place? That seems like a very risky move to me. Answers to these questions may or may not be able to be reached. However, my interest lies in what happened next. After the shooting, the community gathered at a park to protest the shooting, alleging that excessive force was used against Thomas. On this note, I want to say that backlash is not unusual when police force turns deadly. However, every single time it happens, it needs to be listened to. Police officers are supposed to keep the community safe, and when the community feels targeted, that's not happening. Police Chief Jeffrey Halstead said he would meet with members of the community to discuss their concerns, but this was days after the fact, and the city's response took much too long. The objections should have been listened to, and much sooner than they were. Also, Mayor Mike Moncrief had some really good things to say at the City Council meeting when he proposed that the community should be united when situations like these occur, not divided like they were. However, that places a responsibility on the community too. Try not to point fingers and listen to the facts. And in the end, accept that no one is perfect. Mistakes are made, and sometimes they are costly, but mistakes in this instance were on both sides. The fact of the matter is that tragedy puts the spotlight on not so good parts of the community, and they cannot be brushed aside. Responses must be quick, sympathetic, and not accusing or defensive.